Hello everyone, my name is James Ryan, and I'm here to play for you Minecraft. However, you may have noticed something. If you haven't already noticed from the video title, you might be wondering, James, what is going on? Where is the mods button next to the texture packs button? And why isn't it telling you how many mods you have installed here? 43. Well, that's actually because I'm playing vanilla, kind of. Not actually, it is still modded. But it's only got one mod installed, single player commands. Today on Minecraft, I'm going to be teaching you how to build a redstone computer in Minecraft from the ground up, starting with the basics of redstone, then moving on to logic gates, and then logic circuits, and then eventually the types of the logic gates you'll need to to make things like adders, subtractors, and functions that you need in a computer. Then I'm going to tell you how to turn that into a CPU, and RAM, ROM, memory, processing, etc., from the ground up. So you will be able, by the end of it, if you follow along, to understand everything. So without further ado, let's begin. I've already got a world set up because I already made a world because I already tried to do this once, but I'm gonna try again. Gonna start again. You can see maybe there'll be some leftovers over there. But basically the video ended up taking too long. Too much, especially for the first time. Too much spent on one thing. I'm going to have a nice drink of pub squash. Ain't that nice? It's funny because my dad's like, we have too much food in the fridge. And you need to eat all of it by the end of this week. I'm like, whoa. It's deep, man. So that's why I get yummy pub squash. Now, basics of redstone. Now, here's redstone wire, but I'm not even gonna... You probably expect me to, like, hook up a lever to redstone wire or something. But no, not doing that, because we gotta start with the very basic. And redstone is actually a bit of an anomaly in the redstone world. It acts very different to everything else that interacts with redstone. But how does everything else interact with redstone? Well, you may or may not know this, but there are actually two different types of redstone signals. And these basics, while they may not seem immediately useful, they are helpful for understanding how many of the more advanced logic gate, some of the more compact special logic gates you might find around in places like Reddit and stuff work. And they're important to know in general. Just for figuring out how, they're just important to know. They're good general knowledge. You've got to start somewhere. You could skip it, but it's best to know from the beginning. So, as I was saying, there are actually two types of redstone signals. Strong and weak. You may not realize it. Now, I want you to answer a question. If I stick a lever on this block and turn it on, is this block being powered? Your first reaction might be to say no, but it is actually being powered. And I'm going to prove it by showing you with this redstone lamp. As you can see, if I put a lamp here, it will be turned on. Conversely, this is what a lamp that is turned off looks like. The lamp is being powered through the block. But how is this possible? Well, redstone levers actually strongly power the block in front of them. There are two types of redstone power, strong and weak powers. Strongly powered blocks will then transmit weak power to all adjacent blocks. So this block is then being weakly powered, so it will not transmit power. But if I were to move the lever here, both of the blocks would be powered, because this block is being strongly powered, and this block, and then that strongly powered block is weakly powering this block. So strong and weak power and weak redstone power signals will both cause changes in redstone mechanisms. Redstone mechanism is basically any block that is affected in some way by redstone. However, strongly powered redstone signal blocks powered strongly by redstone will then pass on weak redstone signals. But because these are being powered weakly, they won't then continue to send on the signal. Now let's talk about, now that we've talked about how redstone signals in general work and how most mechanisms are affected by it, i.e. if they're strongly powered or weakly powered, then they'll do their thing, whatever that is. In the case of, a lamp, it's turning on. In the case of something like a door, it would be to open. So, I've been away for a while now, and I forgot which part of the video I was up to. But not to worry. We'll just call... No, hang on. Ah, yes. I remember now. I was about to tell you how each of the redstone input devices worked. Okay. Then I've already told you about how the basics of redstone signals themselves. Now I'll talk about how each individual unique input, at least as of 1.2.5, acts as an input. And, so yeah. To help demonstrate, I'll get this. Okay. So, we'll make it out of these actually. So, redstone levers do two things. They strongly power the block that when they are turned on. When they're turned off, they don't send any redstone signals. However, when they are turned on, they strongly power the block that they are attached to. They strongly power the block that they are attached to. So, this block that it is attached to will be powered, and any adjacent blocks to that powered block will then also be powered, but not any blocks adjacent to those blocks. In addition, it will also weakly power blocks next to it. Okay? But not strongly power. So, if I just make the following shape, you'll notice a difference in how these is powered. Okay. If I place the lever here, notice that only these three blocks are powered, because it is weakly powering this block to the left of the lever, and is strongly powering the block the lever is attached to, and that strongly powered block is then going to weakly power this block here next to it. However, if I place the lever here, then something different happens. Even though the lever is in the same block position, within the same block space, it is attached to a different block, so that its results are different. Instead, what happens this time is it weakly powers this block to the right of it, but strongly powers this block that it's attached to, and that strongly powered block then weakly powers the other two blocks. That's the basics of levers. Buttons are not too much different. They pretty much do the exact same thing. The only difference being that once you press them, they only retain their turned on state for a few seconds. Around 1 second, or 1 second or so. So yeah, that's the basics of that. I'm gonna turn time back to day now. Time dawn. Okay, fine. Time day. Alright, so now that I've set time back to day, let's talk a bit. Now that we've talked about how levers and buttons work as inputs, I'm going to talk about how redstone torches work as inputs. Alright, a redstone torch will power blocks in the following manner. Redstone torches will not power the block that they are underneath. Okay? Well, actually, this depends, because redstone torches can actually be placed in two different ways. On top of blocks, take a look, on top of blocks, and on the side of blocks. Okay? So, let's take a look at how redstone torches power blocks, and how the difference between whether they are on top or on the side of a block works. Okay, when on top of a block, redstone torches act in the following way. They weakly power blocks placed to the side of them, so as you can see, the 4 blocks placed to the side of the torch will be powered, but the blocks attached to them won't be, so they are only being weakly powered. However, blocks on top of a redstone torch will be strongly powered. That is,